What is up, YouTube? Hit the record button, right? It's time to record, baby. That's what us professionals do. We're not shy to hit the record button. Check this out, man. Hey, Alfonso. Oh, man, he quit Tyler Perry's studio 15 years ago, and now we know why. Now he's smoking cigarettes. Lord have mercy. Him and Puffy. You know, all these people they got a image on stage and on TV like the perfect person. Even Cuban Jr. He got a couple of little skeletons in his closet also. I still had the speakers on, y'all. Anyway, hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I think these undercover brothers will look at this guy and think that he probably undercover too. Cause I would think that also. But at the same time, I don't think you should. Anyway. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Hey, let's check this bad boy out, man. Here we go.
I have been typecasted to the point where it's almost impossible for people to see me doing something else. You're no longer allowed to act because you did that one so well that we can't see you as something else.
Did they have some issue back in the day? And does he need a career revamp?
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million.
$260 million.
Alfonso Ribeiro finally reveals everything Tyler Perry did to him, and he is not alone.
He showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000 to take my clothes off. He said, "I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you."
For 15 years, fans wondered why.
Damn, man. I mean, can y'all dig that? Y'all think that's true, man? I give you $100 million. I wouldn't even get no chick. I don't care unless it was Janet Jackson. Don't need Janet now. Yeah, I give you $100,000 for to take your clothes off. God, you know, I was in love with Janet. Oops, my baby on the phone. My bad. Psych, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, honey. Hey, anyway, check it, man. Check it. I don't see, well, maybe if you got about 10 million, $100 million or close to $1 billion, and I want to see you naked, I still don't think I give him that much money, man, to be naked. I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Never worked with Tyler Perry. He was famous.
Here we go, y'all. How much? God dang.
To him, and he is not alone.
He showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000 to take my clothes off. He said, "I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you."
For 15 years, fans wondered why he never worked with Tyler Perry. He was famous, talented, and available. But there was no cameo, no show, no partnership. Now, new allegations against Perry are resurfacing, and Alfonso's past silence is starting to make sense.
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon.
Alfonso never accused Perry directly, but when you put his old comments next to what other actors are saying today, the story starts to change. Because silence doesn't always mean nothing happened. Sometimes it means you were never allowed to speak. So, what exactly did Alfonso say? Before the memes, before the reruns, and long before the allegations, Alfonso Ribeiro was everywhere. As Carlton Banks on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he gave America one of its most iconic TV characters. He wasn't just a sidekick. He was the show's comedic backbone, balancing Will Smith's charm with sharp timing and physical comedy that made the Carlton dance a cultural moment.
Yeah, that was a joint.
It's not unusual to be.
But once the series ended in 1996, so did the momentum. Hollywood didn't want to see Alfonso as anything but Carlton. Offers dried up. Directors and producers saw him as the funny, preppy guy, not a serious actor or a box office lead. The typecasting was brutal, and Alfonso, still in his 20s, was left trying to rebuild a career that had stalled the moment his most famous role ended.
The problem for me has always been that in terms of acting, most of the world can't get past Carlton.
To make matters worse, he was navigating this
world.
dry spell during the height of the early 2000s, a time when Hollywood was quietly evolving, but not always in the right direction. Big studios were looking for fresh faces and favoring flash over legacy. And behind the scenes, whispers about gatekeepers controlling access were getting louder. That's where Tyler Perry comes in. According to people close to Alfonso, sometime in the mid to late 2000s, he attempted to align himself with the growing black entertainment infrastructure, particularly Tyler Perry Studios. At that time, Perry was rising fast. He'd built a loyal fan base, bought his own studio space in Atlanta, and had more creative control than almost anyone else in black television. For an actor like Alfonso, sidelined and eager to rebrand, Perry's empire looked like an opportunity. But that partnership never materialized. And for years, no one really understood why. He didn't mention Tyler Perry by name. But for people paying attention, especially after Christian Key's shared leaked texts revealing propositions tied to casting opportunities, the timing was too sharp to ignore. Alfonso Ribeiro had nothing to gain by staying silent anymore. And as more victims began to speak out about coercion, blackballing, and quid pro quo power games, his old cryptic messages suddenly read like warnings. What really happened between Alfonso and Perry? This time, he's not holding back. By the late 2000s, Tyler Perry wasn't just a filmmaker. He was an institution. With box office hits, TV shows dominating BET, and a multi-million-dollar studio built on former Confederate land, Perry had become the ultimate gatekeeper for black actors who felt overlooked by Hollywood's mainstream machine. But with that power came questions and whispers. Alfonso Ribeiro, who once ruled primetime television, reportedly tried to step into Perry's orbit during this period. On the surface, it seemed like a good fit. Alfonso was seeking a reinvention, and Perry was known for giving second chances. But behind the scenes, insiders claim Perry's casting process wasn't always based on talent alone. In 2021, actor Christian Keyes publicly revealed that he had been propositioned inappropriately in exchange for roles.
That he showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000 to take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you.
It was around this same period that Alfonso's social media presence changed. His tone became sharper, his messages more cryptic. One now deleted post read, "Sometimes the audition is just a setup. Be careful who's really watching." Another, "I didn't come this far to sell my dignity." He never named names. But after the Christian Keyes revelations, many began to speculate whether Alfonso had been approached under similar circumstances, and simply chose to walk away. Tyler Perry's defenders argue that his success has made him a target, that actors angry about being rejected or overlooked are looking for someone to blame. But others point out the pattern. Multiple young, attractive male actors stepping forward with eerily similar stories about being pressured or frozen out after refusing Perry's alleged advances.
These events occurred while Mr. Dixon was employed as a series regular on the Tyler Perry show, The Oval, while Mr. Perry held direct control over his employment, compensation, and creative opportunity.
If even part of this culture existed within Perry's studio, it changes the narrative entirely. And for someone like Alfonso Ribeiro, who spent years building a clean, family-friendly image, the idea of compromising his dignity for a role would have been a non-starter. That might explain why we didn't see him on a Tyler Perry show, why he never got the guest role, why a household name from The Fresh Prince vanished from black television spaces while lesser knowns took the spotlight. Sometimes not getting the job is the clearest evidence you passed the real test, one that had nothing to do with acting. And as more details from the current lawsuit come to light, it's starting to look like Alfonso saw the system for what it really was. On June 14th, 2025, actor Derek Dixon filed a bombshell lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court accusing Tyler Perry of multiple acts of misconduct. The suit demands $260 million in damages and outlines a disturbing pattern of alleged that spans from 2019 to 2021, with fallout continuing into 2024. For an industry already rocked by high-profile cases like those of Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, this case stands out because it targets one of the most powerful and seemingly untouchable black moguls in entertainment. According to the lawsuit, Perry and Dixon first met at an event in 2019. At the time, Dixon was relatively unknown, a newcomer with no major acting credits. Court documents state that Perry approached Dixon directly, asking for his phone number and saying he wanted to help him get an acting opportunity. Mr. Perry handpicked Mr. Dixon from a crowd, the complaint says, and asked for his number, saying he saw potential. Soon after, Dixon says Perry cast him in a series called Ruthless. It was during or shortly after this project that the dynamic allegedly began to shift. The complaint describes Perry as initiating what would become a coercive, one-sided relationship masked as professional mentorship. Dixon claims that once Ruthless wrapped, Perry invited him to his personal residence in Atlanta. That evening, according to court filings, Dixon became intoxicated and asked if he could sleep in a guest room. What happened next was described in chilling terms. Mr. Perry followed Mr. Dixon into the guest room, the lawsuit reads, and began touching his thighs. Mr. Dixon rejected the advances, but the interest continued from Mr. Perry moving forward.
Then he claims that while he was asleep, Perry climbed into bed with him and tried to initiate. Dixon says he tried to distance himself from Perry, but he was offered a role on Perry's show, The Oval.
This was allegedly the first instance where Dixon says Perry crossed physical boundaries, and he believes it set the tone for future interactions. By the time Dixon was cast in The Oval, Perry's high-profile BET drama, things allegedly escalated. Dixon was given the role of Dale on the show. According to the lawsuit, Perry began sending suggestive text messages and making flirtatious phone calls. Dixon says the messages included inquiries about his preferences and fantasies. These text screenshots, shared across social media platforms and referenced in reports by outlets like Reuters, the Associated Press, and TMZ, have added pressure to an already volatile case. However, it is important to note that text messages can be edited, fabricated, or taken out of context.
Facts.
According to Reuters, some of these messages were submitted as part of the legal filing. One allegedly read, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless S?" A line that, if authentic, would directly support Dixon's claims of coercion. The Associated Press also cited messages where Perry allegedly told Dixon, "No straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to F you. I would F you." Another message reportedly said, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend."
What? Wait a minute, y'all. These are the text messages? Wait a minute, man. Are y'all syncing this in?
Another message reportedly said, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend." TMZ published additional screenshots that were circulating on X, including one that read, "I feel so good, but I don't like being horny. I feel sorry for the first person that flirts with me." These texts, while not independently verified, paint a picture of escalating interest and blurred professional boundaries. They appear to align with what Dixon describes in his lawsuit, a shift from mentorship to manipulation, from opportunity to coercion. On social media, reactions have been polarized. Some users believe the texts are damning. Others, however, questioned the authenticity. Anyway, back to the court documents. In March 2020, Perry allegedly choked Dixon during a private altercation.
This is what he says that Perry told him. Dixon said that Perry told him, quote, that he liked being choked. That was after Dixon's character was choked by a cast member in a scene on The Oval. Perry also allegedly said, "Why do you twist your hips when you walk? How can I get a day of Dixon?"
Later that year, another incident occurred on the set of The Oval, where Perry is accused of entering a trailer and groping Dixon's. The most disturbing allegation, however, came in June 2021. Dixon says he was again invited to Perry's Atlanta home. While staying in the guest house, dressed in only his underwear, Dixon says Perry entered his room to say goodnight. According to Dixon, Perry then initiated a hug, pulled down his underwear, grabbed his backside, and told him to just relax. Dixon claims he was able to de-escalate the situation by changing the subject, but by that point, he felt psychologically cornered. Mr. Perry made it clear to Mr. Dixon, the lawsuit states, that ignoring his advances would come at a cost. He said plainly, "If you ignore me, your character dies." The lawsuit also describes Perry using potential projects as leverage. Specifically, Dixon says Perry offered to help produce a TV series Dixon had written called Losing It. According to the complaint, Perry expressed interest in funding the pilot, but only if Dixon remained loyal. Dixon now claims that this was never a real opportunity, but a manipulative tactic. Mr. Perry sought the one thing his wealth and influence could not purchase: AES relationship with a man who would remain silent. The suit alleges. Dixon eventually filed a formal complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in June 2024. He states he was diagnosed with PTSD as a result of Perry's actions and later exited the Oval, saying the emotional and psychological toll had become unbearable. The complaint does not stop at Perry himself. Dixon has also named Tyler Perry Studios and TPS Production Services as co-defendants. The lawsuit accuses Perry's company of negligent hiring, supervision, and retention, although Perry is the only one accused of committing the physical and verbal abuse. In one of the most pointed lines of the complaint, Dixon compares Perry to other fallen figures in entertainment, just like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Sean P. Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, and many others in the industry. The complaint reads, Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. Tyler Perry's legal team has responded firmly. His attorney, Matthew Boyd, issued a public statement. This is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry for what now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. But Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident these fabricated claims of will fail. Still, the case is now public, and unless it's dismissed or settled privately, Perry may have to defend himself in court against the most serious allegations of his career. In any case, it's been over a decade since Alfonso Ribeiro stepped away from scripted television. For years, fans assumed it was by choice, that he preferred hosting, family life, or simply wanted to avoid being typecast again. But behind the polished smiles and game shows, something else was brewing. Because silence, especially in Hollywood, doesn't always mean safety. Sometimes it's a strategy. Alfonso Ribeiro isn't new to the politics of fame. After Fresh Prince, he found himself boxed in by a character that millions loved, but few industry insiders took seriously. His Carlton persona had made him rich, but it had also made him invisible when it came to serious roles. So when he started testing the waters again in the 2000s, he quickly realized that talent wasn't enough. One of his close associates later hinted that Alfonso saw what went on behind the scenes at certain studios, but chose to remove himself from that environment. No drama, no scandal, just quiet withdrawal. But it's the why that matters. The truth is, Alfonso likely stayed silent because he thought speaking out wouldn't help, or worse, it would backfire. Tyler Perry wasn't just another producer. By the 2010s, he was considered untouchable, a billionaire, a darling of Oprah, BET, and major networks. Calling him out would have meant career S-side, especially for someone already struggling to re-enter the spotlight. And let's be honest, black actors in Hollywood have rarely had the luxury of speaking freely, especially against other powerful black figures. The fear of being labeled difficult, bitter, or jealous is real. The fear of being erased completely. Even worse, that's why Alfonso kept it vague. Cryptic tweets, half hints, quiet unfollows, a refusal to collaborate. It was all there, but coded. And for years, most people missed the message. But now that Christian Keys has leaked receipts, now that Derek Dixon has filed a $260 million lawsuit alleging harassment and professional coercion at the hands of Tyler Perry, suddenly, Alfonso's silence doesn't look like indifference. It looks like restraint. and maybe even self-preservation.
Dixon is suing Tyler Perry, the individual, as well as his production studio. That studio is called TPS Production Services, LLC. That stands for Tyler Perry Studios in Action, LLC. And he is looking for $260 million.
In this new light, Alfonso's decision not to work with Perry feels less like a missed opportunity and more like a quiet act of resistance. He may not have gone public with details, but now, 15 years later, his choice to stay away is its own form of testimony. And it's making people wonder just how many other actors walked away and why they never felt safe enough to say why. When actors like Alfonso Ribeiro speak indirectly, the industry listens quietly. But when actors like Christian Keys speak directly, the veil begins to lift. That's what happened in 2021, when Keys went public about the casting couch culture behind some of Tyler Perry's productions. He didn't mince words.
He showed up to my apartment and offered me $100,000.
Damn.
To take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you. I just want to see you.
Keys' confession set off a domino effect. His leaked messages and vague references to coercion aligned disturbingly well with Alfonso's older statements. And suddenly, those cryptic posts about being boxed out, turned away, or punished for not playing the game took on a darker tone. Alfonso and Christian are very different actors, but their timelines overlapped. Both were looking to re-enter the acting world in the mid-2000s. Both were black men trying to work inside a studio that said it uplifted them. And both, in their own way, walked away, quietly. Even Derek Dixon's explosive lawsuit, while already explored in depth, adds another brick to the wall. Taken together, these stories outline a pattern. Young black male actors looking for opportunities, and instead finding boundaries they weren't willing to cross. This isn't about one text or one incident. It's about the cumulative effect, the subtle pressure, the jokes that weren't jokes, the suggestions that weren't suggestions. These weren't isolated misunderstandings. They were power dynamics disguised as generosity. And for actors like Alfonso Ribeiro, the most damning thing might be what didn't happen. No Tyler Perry role. No crossover appearances. Not even a cameo in a system that claimed to uplift black talent. That absence, in retrospect, says a lot. When you compare that to Keys' direct rejection of Perry's offers, or the chilling claims now surfacing in lawsuits, a picture begins to form. One that makes Alfonso's long silence seem not only reasonable, but strategic. And maybe that's why he's finally speaking now. Not through a press conference, not in an expose, but by letting people connect the dots he's been quietly drawing for over a decade. What seemed like bitterness now feels like a boundary. What felt like distance now looks like protection. And what once read like silence is starting to sound a whole lot like survival. In any case, Alfonso Ribeiro didn't give us a viral headline. He didn't drop names in a tell-all interview, but maybe he didn't have to, because in an industry where silence is often mistaken for weakness, his quiet refusal to participate might have been the strongest message of all. While others chased the spotlight, Alfonso walked away from something millions of actors dream of, all because of what he likely saw behind the curtain. He was never dramatic, never loud, but the decisions he made, the spaces he avoided, and the subtle things he did say all tell a story. A story of boundaries, a story of choosing dignity over deals. And now, with lawsuits stacking up and testimonies from once silent actors beginning to surface, Alfonso's past choices feel less like career detours and more like warnings we all missed. Because when the truth finally starts coming out, the people who walked away quietly are often the ones we should have listened to all along. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.
That's it for this video, folks. Bye. Man, hey, you ever notice this, man? Real talk. The father, Uncle Tom, Uncle Phil his name is. Boy, I tear up some names. Uncle Phil, I think he was, did he come out of the closet? I don't know. He got some Sugar Britches stuff going on. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. You got Will Smith. He got some Sugar Britches stuff going on, saying he gonna get caught with doing some. Alfonso, they say he a little. Now, I think that Tyler Perry is also, right, all these people, TD Jakes, all these people, there ain't none of them coming out saying, man, you a goddamn gonna lie. If you ain't even gotta be famous and say I'm gay and I'm gonna go over there and straighten that shit quick, fast, and in a hurry. Yeah. But you notice one thing, they all kind of, so they probably, Tyler, hey, they give the little signal. I don't know what the signal is, they like playing baseball. They give the signal like, he did it before. Now it's up to you to get him to do it again. Something like that. I don't know. And I think in order to get some of these parts, it ain't no usual road to be loved by anyone. I can't even remember the song. But my point is this. I think they all did a little something to get to where they at. It's like, you got to narrow it down some kind of way. And if you ain't giving up off nothing, then I can pick somebody else. It ain't about talent. Never was about talent. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. I'm figuring this stuff out, man, because I'm thinking, wait a minute. When I saw all three of them on the TV at the same time, on the video at the same time, I'm like, Will got some stuff going on, and he ain't say nothing. I ain't mixed up with that puffy stuff. I don't even like baby oil. He ain't never say, y'all keep saying I'm gay and I'm not. He never said that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that these people saying, man, I'd be like, man, what the if you think I'm gay, step up. I might lose the fight because I'm a little older now. I'm out of breath quick, fast, and in a hurry. But look here, man, I'm going to get on up out of here, man. Thank y'all so much. Hey, don't forget, we got a Ali Carter series that's coming out, man. Y'all may want to check that out, man. Why am I? Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out. I think my computer froze.